What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see, we actually got 23 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get 23 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon. Should be a link down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure to join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $1,431 just yesterday. Another member who won $335 for the 5th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description. So go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group. And I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to be talking about is Joel Embiid, and this one is for 3-pointers made for 1.5, and this one is for less. Now we look at Joel Embiid. We've actually seen him go in the under in 3 out of the last 5 games, which is fantastic to see, and they do face off against none other than the Toronto Raptors. Now as you all know, when we look at the Toronto Raptors, we do see that when it comes to actually 3-pointers allowed, starting off in 3-point percentage allowed, we actually do see that the Toronto Raptors do rank, pretty well or pretty average in that case, as they do actually rank 16th, well tied 16th at that. Moving on into 3-point attempts allowed, we see that the Raptors rank 15th, and then 3 points made allowed, we actually do see the Raptors rank 16th there as well. So they rank very mid-tier in all 3 categories. Now we do very much like, the under for this situation here, due to the fact that when it comes to Joel Embiid, he tends to play the power forward and center position, and Toronto Raptors actually do a really good job at restricting 3-point attempts, 3 points made, to the actual big man position, whether it's power forward or whether it's center. And that's a big reason why we do very much like the under for this one. When we look at Joel Embiid as well, over the last 5 games, he has averaged 1.8, but this is a little bit of an outlier because he has actually gone on the over in the most recent where he had 4. That was a bit of an outlier game. We think that it's brought this line a little bit too high, that now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under here. So for that reason, we are definitely sticking to the under for this situation here. When it comes to Joel Embiid, Joel Embiid is a great player in that sense. But I think on top of that, when we look at the defensive strategies Toronto Raptors are going to throw at him, he is maybe going to struggle from the 3-point line, getting those shots up and also getting them in. So for that reason, we are sticking to the under for this situation here. This one's kind of a no-brainer to us. So Joel Embiid, 1.5, 3 points made for less, I think is a great pick. Now, when we get into the next one, we're going to be talking about Benedict Mathurin. So, Benedict Mathurin, great player as we all know, and has been playing fantastic for his team. And this one is a points one for 14.5, and this one is for less. Now, we look at Benedict Mathurin. We've actually seen him go in the under in 2 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against none other than the New York Knicks. Now, look at the New York Knicks. We do see that the Knicks rank very high, as they rank 9th when it comes to points allowed. So they rank actually in the top 10, which I think is really good to see. When we look at his position, he tends to play that small forward position, and on top of that, sometimes does switch between guard, but mainly small forward. And New York Knicks actually also do a really good job at restricting points from the small forward position. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. We think New York Knicks are going to do a great job defensively. New York Knicks as a whole are also a great defensive team, so we think there is going to be a lot of help pressure there. Benedict Mathurin, over the last 5 games, he has averaged 15.8. So yes, it is slightly above this line, but he did have an outlier game against LA Clippers where I think it brought this line just a little bit too high. And now there's a lot more value actually to go on the under there. So for that reason, we are definitely sticking to the under for this situation. And because of that, we do very much like the under for this situation, due to the fact that when we look at what the bookies are saying, the bookies also have him favored for the under as well. So for that reason, we are sticking to the under for this one. So Benedict Mathurin, 14.5 points for less, I think is a great pick. Now getting to the next one, we're going to be talking about Josh Hart. So Josh Hart, great player, and this one is for 10.5 rebounds, and this one actually is for less. Now we look at Josh Hart. We've actually seen him go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games, and they do face off against none other than Indiana Pacers. Now, when we look at the Indiana Pacers, we do see that when it comes to rebounds allowed, we see that the Pacers do actually rank 20th. So they rank 20th when it comes to actually, rebounds allowed, and for that reason, we also do see Josh Hart plays a small forward position. So although Pacers do rank really low, the reason why we do like the under for someone like Josh Hart is that when it comes to Josh Hart, he is a small forward, and Pacers do a really good job at restricting rebounds to the small forward position. So we look at it a per position basis, we definitely do like the under for this situation here. When we look at also his last 5 games, we see that he's only averaged 8.2 as well. So for that reason, we are definitely liking the under, as we have seen his usage rate decrease over the last couple of games, and we definitely see it remaining at this around 8 level. So the fact that his line is still at 10.5, we think that is still very, very high. We think there's still a lot more value to go on the under, even against a game like Pacers, due to the fact that they do a really good job per position at restricting him. So for that reason, we are definitely sticking to the under for this situation here for someone like Josh Hart. And on top of that, when we look at what the bookies are saying, the bookies also have a favorite for the under as well. So Josh Hart, 10.5 rebounds for less, I think is a great pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Scotty Barnes. So Scotty Barnes, fantastic player who's been averaging 19.9 points, 7.8 rebounds, 6.4 assists, while also shooting 44.2% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job for none other than the Toronto Raptors, and the Raptors do have themselves a great matchup against none other than the Philadelphia 76ers. Now when we look at the Philadelphia 76ers, we do see that when it comes to points allowed, we see that they rank 15th. When it comes to assists allowed, we also do see that they rank 24th, and then rebounds allowed, we also do see that they rank 17th. So they rank pretty mid to low tier in all 3 categories, and for that reason, we do very much like the over for this situation here for someone like Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes is a great player, and he does have a very high usage rate in all 3 departments, which is what we like to see, and that is a big reason why we do very much like the over for this situation here. When it comes to someone like Scotty Barnes, we do very much like the over, not only due to the fact that he has a high usage rate, but we also look at the 76ers. They are a poor defensive team, but they also do a very poor job at restricting points, rebounds, and assists to the small forward position. So we see Scotty Barnes being able to take advantage of this. When it comes to this 76ers team, they are just a poor defensive team in general, so that definitely helps out there. And Scotty Barnes, although they have been on a little bit of a losing streak, he's had a really good usage rate as of lately over the last couple of games, and we see that continuing on and having him do very, very well stat wise coming into this matchup. So like I always mention, it is about the win or lose. It's all about the props, especially for player props in this case. So Scotty Barnes, on his stats, we definitely see him going on the over here, so keep an eye out for his line. If his line is under his averages, definitely look to go in the over, so definitely see a lot of great value there. Again, to the next player, we're going to be talking about Karl-Anthony Towns. Now we look at Karl-Anthony Towns, we have him seen do a fantastic job for the New York Knicks, where he's been averaging 24 points, 13.5 rebounds, 3.3 assists, while also shooting 53.1% from the field. So he's done a great job for none other than the New York Knicks, and the New York Knicks do have themselves a great matchup against none other than the Indiana Pacers. Now we look at the Indiana Pacers, we do see that the Pacers have a record of 29-22, and they do face off against the New York Knicks, who have a record of 34-18. So it is going to be an exciting game there. When it comes to their records, they are, Pacers are a couple of games behind New York Knicks, and New York Knicks have done a great job so far this season. But when we look at the Pacers, we do see when it comes to points allowed, we see that they rank 21st. Moving on into assists allowed, we see that they rank 12th, and then rebounds allowed, we also do see that the Pacers rank 20th. So they rank pretty low in all 3 categories, and for that reason, we do very much like the over for this situation here for someone someone like Karl-Anthony Towns. Cat has a very good usage rate in all three departments, but I would definitely focus a lot more on points and rebounds. He definitely has a higher usage rate in those two departments, and we see Karl-Anthony Towns being able to take advantage of those two departments specifically. So points and rebounds is definitely a good sign for someone like Karl-Anthony Towns, especially with the way he has been playing. I definitely would keep an eye out for that. On top of that, when we look at the matchup as well, Pacers are a fast-paced team, and although New York Knicks are a bit of a slower-paced team, what we have seen in the past is that Pacers do a really good job at actually speeding up slow-paced teams. So we see Knicks having a little bit more volume as the pace may actually speed up for them coming into this matchup, and for that reason we could see a lot more volume from Karl-Anthony Towns, so more point opportunities, more rebounds, and also more assists. But like I mentioned before, guys, I think the points and rebounds is definitely where you want to focus on for someone like Cat coming into this game. He is coming off some pretty good games over the last couple of games he has played. He's had great usage right there, so we definitely do like the over for this situation here. So Karl-Anthony Towns, keep an eye out for his line. If it is under his averages, definitely look to go in the over, so I definitely see a lot of great value there. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Devin Booker. So Devin Booker has done a great job averaging 26.4 points, 4.1 rebounds, 6.6 assists, while also shooting 45.3% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job for none other than the Phoenix Suns, and the Phoenix Suns face off against none other than a great Memphis Grizzlies team. Now, Memphis Grizzlies do rank they have a record, of 35-17, while the Suns have a record of 26-26. So Suns are definitely falling behind compared to Memphis. And when we look at the Memphis Grizzlies, however, we do also see that when it comes to points allowed, they rank 23rd. Moving on into assists allowed, we see that the Grizzlies don't really rank too well, as they do rank a little bit more on the lower side to mid-tier side, as they rank 15th. And then rebounds allowed, we also see the Grizzlies rank 11th there. So when it comes to someone like Booker does have a higher usage rate in points and assists. I definitely would focus on those two, and the fact that Memphis ranked very low in both of those categories, we definitely like the over for this situation here. When we look at someone like the Memphis Grizzlies, what we also do see is that the Grizzlies also do a very poor job at restricting points and assists to the shooting guard position. So we definitely see Devin Booker being able to take advantage of this and going on the over here. So for that reason, we are very much liking the over for this situation for someone like Devin Booker. We see him being able to take advantage of this, no doubt about it, and we should see him being able to go on the over in this situation, especially against this Memphis Grizzlies team.